Hey there, how's it going? If you haven't been here before, my name's Tim Simpson and I make videos about YouTube, vlogging, filmmaking, cameras and tech and all that sort of stuff that goes with it. Today we're going to have a look at my new setup that I've got going and what I've put together and why I've done it the way I have and the sort of thing I'm trying to get out of it, and we'll see if it works over the next few. If that's what you're keen on, hang around and we'll have a look at that. Hey, welcome back. Now, I've been wanting to change the way I use the space I've got here, make everything I'm doing easier to do, come up with a better result. And so I set myself some good goals. First of all, obviously, I wanted to improve the image quality. I also wanted to make the audio better. I wanted to use more effective lighting, and I wanted to use much more of the space that I've got. I wanted to use the space that I've got better. And on top of all that, I wanted to do a general tech upgrade. So I decided I would attack these things in that reverse order. I went and got a new camera and some gear because I knew that was a basic thing I was going to have to do. I'll show you more of that camera later on. I wanted to make better use of the space, so I figured it before I worked on the lighting and how I was going to set the framing up and all that sort of thing. I'd have a look at how I wanted the space used and the best way I could use that. And I decided to go, instead of across the room I was here, straight onto some bookshelves I've got right up beside me here. I'll just show you those quickly. Just got that shelving there that you might be familiar with. I decided to forego that and use the depth of what I've got back here instead, so that it goes all the way back up to the shelving at the back here and the door. You can see my monitor set up, my desk, that sort of thing. I think that's just a lot more dynamic in it. It's got a better feel. It's a real space that I'm in, and I'm going to set up more of the room I've got over here, which is a massive space. I'll just quickly pan that around so you can kind of see what I've got up around here. I've got my big screen here. It's really dark over there at the moment. There's not a lot of light. But there's a huge amount of space I've got there that I can make use of to have so many different environments. If you've got a good sized room like I have here, and this is 6 by 9 meter studio space, you can have this 6 meters going all the way back here. Is a hell of a depth, but it only uses a small column of the whole room that I've got. Basically, I wanted to use this space better. I can set up a whole heap of virtual spaces within this one physical space and have a whole heap of different looks for different types of videos I want to do. So I can do this one for the face-to-camera things like this, and I can set up a camera on top of my monitors here, and another one behind me here for doing gaming things and that sort of thing, and my Twitch streaming and all these other bits and pieces that I want to be doing. And I can also set up, I'm going to be setting up an interview space down over here where I've got the couches, I've got a good table and all that sort of thing. I can set up a couple more cameras over there and have a really nice interview space with somebody producing it and switching live here. So we can do these live multicam things. I've got all the space for this. We're slowly setting it up and it's going to be awesome. Here we've got the Blackmagic monitors and TV switcher and everything, and another desk over here we've got a couple of Mac Minis with all of the switching software and everything we want on it, and that's going to be really awesome once we've got it up and running. But first of all, I wanted to get this one right, so I chose this line of space down here behind me. It looks pretty cool. Now, once I had the space set up, I thought, right, well, how am I going to light this? Now, I watched a video of Peter McKinnon the other day where he had one key light above him, and that's all he used. Now, I didn't bother with a multi-light setup, but he was dead on a wall behind him and that sort of thing, and I really love that wooden wall you've got, Peter, by the way. And he's set that up so that works well for him with a single light, but I've got a fair bit more depth here, and I've got quite a bright key light up here. I didn't want to use the space for a big softbox at this point, so what I've done is I've set up a big key light up here. I've got a fill light just up on this side, and I've got a big panel light behind me as well that lights up the background, bounces off the roof and gives a good soft ambient lift. But at the same time, I did like what Peter had with that whole fairly atmospheric look. So my big light up here is the dominant one, And if I turn my fill light off, then you can see that I needed this one up here just to compensate for some of the stuff. You can just see on the side of my head here. So this is a pretty good and pretty typical 3-point lighting background. I also wanted this big light at the back here as well, because it's quite dark when I shoot. It's usually in the evenings or at night because I work during the day, and I wear a lot of dark clothing as well, so I just needed something to pick up that gap between me and the background. I still need to work on that a little bit. It's not so bad on this side, but over on this side it's just pretty much pitch black over here. I'm going to do something a bit later to perk that up. And yeah, I'll keep evolving this and moving it around, and I'll see how it works. So now that I've got something fairly well lit up the way that I like it, I had a look around to see what sort of props and things I want to fill. You don't want just a blank dirty studio and a big mess of a space. So what I've done is I picked this quite neat light up here. I'll just turn around and show you. It's this thing here. It's just a work light that I picked up from a local hardware store, and it was 2 of them for $90. And just by putting that up here, I get quite a neat little effect. So nobody needs to particularly know what it is, and it's not really important as to whether it's there or not, but it creates a nice little bit of a shine on the monitors there, and it's a little bit of an eye catch at the back and makes the space feel like it's got something in it. I've got another one. I might put it up over on this side here so it's not so dark as well, but I'll do that later. The sound, I didn't have to do much for that. I've tidied up my sound quite nicely with I've got the Blue Yeti here. That's a brilliant microphone, and while I'm recording video on my new camera, the audio is recording directly onto the Mac here, so I just need to match those up. So I'm going to do a lot of videos with as few cuts as I can. I'm trying to avoid the whole jump cut culture. I do that a lot in my videos, and I still will, because I want to tighten them up a bit. You don't want to hear me ranting for an hour at a time. So I've got the Blue Yeti mic, and that does me really well. I did, however, decide to move it around, which was another reason for going this particular direction down the studio instead of the other way back onto the shelving I've got what's behind my camera now. And the reason for that is I wanted to move the microphone further away from my projector and my Mac and my big hard drive space and all of that sort of thing over there, which, while it runs really quietly, when it was only a few inches away from the microphone, these 3 or 4 things and a couple of hard drives, you're always getting that silent fan noise and that little underlying hum and everything that you guys probably never even hear, but it bugs the hell out of me. So I moved the microphone 3 feet down to the other end of my desk, and now I don't get any of that at all. It's a really good microphone. It cuts out all of that noise, so I like that. So I've got good lighting now, I've got good sound, I've got much better use of my space, and I've got a really, really good camera that I'm shooting on. Now, I'll quickly show you the camera. To do that, I'm going to have to grab my other camera. Now, I wanted to vastly improve the image quality I was getting, so I had a look around. I looked on eBay and a couple of local sites that do similar sort of trading, that sort of stuff, and jumped on eventually Facebook Markets, and I spotted this Blackmagic 4K cinema camera. Now, I've already got 2 of these, as some of you might know if you've been watching some of the fight vids and my production videos from other things. This Blackmagic 4K camera is, I think it's an absolutely brilliant camera, and I managed to pick this one up for about 1,500 New Zealand dollars. That's really cheap. That's about 700, 800 US. And I've already got the lenses, of course, from doing the cinema work. So this was an absolute no-brainer, an absolute steal. I could use an existing monitor that I've got. It takes the discs that I've already got for doing recording. It records in 4K. It's got a fantastic sensor, and I've got some fantastic lenses to use. And I picked up a cheap second-hand tripod to go with it. And that's landed me with an absolutely brilliant low-light camera that I can use for doing this. I can leave it set up and don't have to break down my other kit. And I think this is going to serve me really well for a long time. It's a very quiet camera as well. It doesn't have great internal audio, but that's okay because I want to record with the Yeti mic anyway. So I'm really happy with what I've got here. I've got a great camera with a great lens on it. I've got good atmospheric lighting that Peter McKinnon would be proud of. I've got decent depth in the studio I'm using and a good background and framing and everything. My sound is great. I've got a wonderful microphone and I'm really happy with what I'm getting out of there. And all of this, plus a couple of other tweaks I've made, have made this whole thing far more practical to do, so it's going to really help my workflow. I've got a few more tricks and tips I've come up with as well, but I'm going to put those into another video. Things that help you when you're vlogging, make sure that you're pointing in the right place on screen, all that sort of stuff, and some tricks with the camera just to help you get things done quicker as well. So, but I'll get onto that in another video. I hope this has been useful to you. I hope you've learnt something and found it interesting, at least had a bit of a look around what I've got and what I'm doing. I'm going to pop outside tomorrow. It's Saturday, so I'm going to go and take some photos with the GoPro 7. Not taking video, I'm just going to be taking photos because I really want to have a look and see how good that is as a photo camera. I might take out a couple of other cameras like the A7S and compare it and just bring them back and see what I can get out of the two of them and see how they match up. Anyway, that's all I've got for tonight. Nice quick one. So I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to catch more of these. Hit the notification bell to make sure you get notified, and of course the like button so that YouTube knows how good I am and that you actually liked the video. Thanks for watching it all the way through. See you later.